So actually, it took him about 10 to 12 minutes to get an answer back. Meanwhile, I'm conducting interviews with the Boston Globe, the New York Post. I mean, they're coming up right there. And so he comes back, and he says, well, we're going to ask you to move down to the end of the block, past the barricade. And I said, well, that's more than 1,000 feet. And he's like, well, I don't really know where the 1,000 feet is, but that's what we're going to ask you to do. And he said, I can't even tell you if I would arrest you if you refuse to do that, because, you know, he was clearly not wanting to arrest me, and he wasn't going to do so unless ordered to by higher ups. Is the impression that I was getting. So at this point, I had to make a judgment call, and I was undecided as to what the right thing to do here was. At that time, he got a call on his cell phone, and who exactly it was, I'm not 100%. I believe that it was the police chief who came through and said that apparently right maybe 30 feet from where I was currently standing when this whole incident started, that there was a church, and that church was private property, and therefore I would be all right there. So instead of pushing the 1,000-foot permit issue, I just moved over, and that's where I stood through the rest of the event.
Well, the issue here is we've been trained by the police that we can't have our rifles in our cars. There's no law. They'll just beat you in the head with a club and find something to take you to prison for. We have to teach them that's illegal and criminal. Even in Texas, we've been castrated. You obviously haven't been in Vermont, Arizona, and New Hampshire, and a few areas of Colorado. I commend you. It's just amazing. We should start a national organization, somebody should, for having these events in numbers. I know the Black Panthers, and I support what they did in Houston, marched armed, because this is our right of free humans. And if we allow them through the common law to restrict us, practice is a large part of the law, and it becomes the common law. Go ahead.
Exactly, and you're absolutely right. And I lived in Arizona. I came from Arizona, and I moved to New Hampshire as part of the Free State Project to work to achieve liberty in our lifetime. And New Hampshire's not Arizona's not a half bad state when it comes to gun laws, right? But they started doing they were one of the first states to go with the real ID. We had Governor Napolitano, and I saw what was happening in New Hampshire, and I said, you know, that's the last bastion of freedom. This is where the nanny staters don't want to be, right?
We have to
don't want to be babysit. This is the state that has no state income tax. It's the last state that has no seatbelt laws. It has no mandatory insurance. I mean, there's so many things that the live free or die state, the spirit of the locals, they live that way.
Yeah, we have to make it the custom again. We have to practice and exercise these freedoms, or they atrophy and die, to the point of now you got to hide your guns with repair people in Texas because they think they're illegal and they want a bounty. The billboards everywhere say report illegal guns, show a picture of a revolver. The moron public doesn't know that. And so thank God for you. Millions of people yesterday all over international TV learned that, wait, you're allowed to have a gun? And so maybe when I have an exterminator in my house, he won't go call the police on me.
I just saw the headline coming out of England where apparently I am labeled a gunman. And interestingly, in some of the articles that I've read, I'm labeled a loner. So I've been labeled a loner and a gunman, but so far not a lone gunman. So we'll see if that
maybe you fire magic bullets that can shoot through 2 or 3 people through a bunch of bones and metal and not be damaged. Maybe you're like the Lucky Charms leprechaun that you hop around like the Fighting Irish with gold coins shooting out of your mouth. Stay there, Mr. Kostric. I want to get a few final comments from you. Maybe have you up for a full hour in the near future. You're a very interesting person, and New Hampshire sounds like a better and better place to live. William Kostric, we got to have him back up soon. I noticed a lie. They arrested a guy in New Hampshire hours before Obama even got there, somewhere near where he was going to speak. They're looking in cars for guns, and they said he was arrested for not having a registered gun. There's no registry law in New Hampshire, so I wanted to ask Mr. Kostric about that. I kept saying hearing in the news your gun was registered. Let me guess, there's no reason to register a gun when there's no law to register it. That's more of that mass lie, as if the whole country is New York City and Lower Manhattan. Let me guess, your gun wasn't registered and it was all a lie.
That is correct. That is correct. My gun was neither registered nor was it required to be. And interestingly, to the horror of many out there, they at no point even asked me for ID. At no point during the event, during the footage, all the time that I talked to the cops, all the time that they asked me, to please relocate, the whole thing, I was never even asked for ID.
Well, the truth is, if you were a criminal that wanted to go after the president, it wouldn't be open. That's why they have a permit for a concealed, because it's illegal under common law to conceal a weapon. Only criminals and murderers do that. Free men wear weapons openly. And we need to get back to being free men, not slaves. In England and others, those poor people, now they're putting cameras in the parents' rooms, watching them 24 hours a day. That's what happens when they get your guns in Australia, in England. Mr. Kostric, are there any websites you want to plug?
FreeStateProject.org, New Hampshire Liberty Alliance, and start there. There are a dozen great, off the top of my head, liberty activist groups.
Look. We're going to do this soon. William, I got to jump. William, I got to jump. Right. We're going to have you back up for a full hour. I'm going to set you up for a full hour next week. This is only going to heat up. God bless you, and it was good having you here with us.
I've got more. Looking forward to being back.
You bet. We look forward to having you. I'll have Jaron set you up next week. Thank you. I just wanted to add before the show ended that I was just watching CNN during the break, that same congressman. They are loving the swastika on the congressman's sign, because he screamed at his constituents and told them they were basically scum. It backfired. Then somebody went and sprayed that. That swastika saving his butt. And I bet if it does come out in the wash, somebody affiliated with the congressman sprayed that, because people have been caught. We need an article about people being caught putting swastikas on their own property at the dorms and churches and everywhere else. We're sick of it. And this is what they're going to do. They're going to victimize themselves to demonize us. Guaranteed. This is Alex Jones. Have you heard of the Millionaire Patriot? Well, you should. He has a free handgun and 5 days of firearms training waiting for you. That's right. You can attend 5 days of world-class gun training at Front Sight Firearms Training Institute and secure a 30-state concealed weapons permit, all for pennies on the dollar. Plus, if you act fast, the Millionaire Patriot will give you a free Springfield Armory XD pistol in the caliber of your choice. I believe now is the time that you and your family need to be armed and trained to levels that exceed law enforcement and military standards. Front Sight provides such training without any boot camp mentality or drill instructor attitudes. This is real. Don't miss out. Secure a Front Sight defensive handgun course, plus a 30-state concealed weapons permit for pennies on the dollar, and get your free handgun. Go to frontsight.com today. That's FRONTSIGHT.com. Go to frontsight.com for your training and free gun.